Hello, hello, and welcome to Green Alignments. I am Mary Cay, and I am alone today. Kay has decided that she wanted me to spend a little bit of time maybe showing you some exercises, and she wasn't too keen on getting in front of the camera. So she left me to that, which is fair. I was trying to think of what I should share. And the thing about postural alignment exercises is that they meet you where you're at. So the method very much is about a one-to-one kind of process. We walk through uh, taking some static photos, talking about your health history, reviewing what's comfortable for you, what things you definitely don't feel comfortable doing. And from that, I create a series of exercises that are custom made for you. When you go into a class, obviously that's a very different situation. It's a one-to-many kind of scenario. And so in choosing exercises today, I thought of what would be accessible to many bodies. So I thought we should work from a chair. And that way, people who can't get down to the floor have the ability to do it. And don't disregard something like a chair as being helpful for anyone who can do postural therapy. Um, we'll talk about during the different exercises how a chair has really great beneficial things for us depending upon where we're at in our movement ability. Okay, so I always try to start the class or a class with a disclaimer to just say, please, if any of these exercises either instantaneously give you a feeling of discomfort or pain, if you're feeling really unsure, you want to listen to your body and go ahead and honor your body's request to please stop. So please don't do anything that causes pain. And things that you might experience if you were doing good work. It may feel, like this is kind of hard. That's a good thing. If you feel a bit of cramping or wobbling in your muscles, trembling, that's a really good sign. Another thing that you can feel is a rush of sensation or warmth or heat in an area. That's a wonderful, it may be a little disconcerting, like, ew, what's happening to me? But in terms of the work for the body, it shouldn't be a concern. But pain, we separate those two as being the big stop sign. Please don't continue. Just kind of take a rest and give that one, a pause. I'm not going to do that for now. And then come on and try the next exercise. Okay, so I created a little routine for exercises, and we're going to grab a chair. All right, so one of the things I look for is I look to kind of line my chair up so that I can use the outside edges of my yoga mat and know that, this is pretty aligned and straight. A couple other props that I was thinking for today. A yoga block would be helpful. You could also use an old shoebox, something you can find around your house that maybe has similar dimensions. I think this is 6, I think this is 4, I think this is 9 or something, but it gives you some options in terms of the way that you can use it. So yeah, I was looking around for a shoebox, but I couldn't find one, so I just grabbed this because it's a lot easier for me. Another thing that's helpful for today is a belt. This is a basic yoga belt. Again, just a tie that you might use around a robe, as long as it's not stretchy, could work. Not those stretchy bands, you don't want those for this, but what you might want is just a plain old belt that you might use to, around your waistline. That would also work too. Okay. You know what? I'm going to angle my chair this way to start. Okay, the first exercise is sitting ankle mobility. So, it's funny. I'm going to ankle my chair this way. I'm going to angle my chair that way. Maybe I'll go on the diagonal. Maybe that's the better way. because I want you to be able to see something. So first off, we want to talk about what is a chair for. One of the things that a chair provides us is an opportunity for our pelvis to know what level is. When I take a lot of postural photos, I am surprised to see how many people, including myself, have one hip that's higher than the other. So a chair, when we sit down on it, gives us a sense of what's level. Another thing that a chair can provide is, here, if we sit on the edge, it might help us tip forward. If we sit toward the back, it may help us round into the chair and give us some comfort. What we want to do for our exercises is sit about in the middle. So we're not using the back of the chair and we're not using the front of the chair to give us any kind of a boost or support. When we're sitting, ideally, if I turn to the side a little bit, the chair you choose from what you have in your house ideally should have your thighs be parallel to the ground. Okay, so you can see how this chair is pretty good height for me. If it's not a good height for you, you could look around to either add height to your chair or choose a different chair. I'll grab the block. The first exercise that I want to do with you is sitting ankle mobility. So again, for that one, I want you to be able to see it. There. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to sit in the middle of our chair. We're going to position our feet hip width apart and parallel. So let me go through that. For hip width apart, we have our hip bones here. If we were to drop a plumb line straight down, we'd want to see that our knees align with our ankles. And when we're lining up our feet, we don't want them too far turned out or turned in. What we're wanting is to kind of line up the outside edges from the round part of the heel here and this just below the little toe joint here. Kind of use that as a line to line up your feet. Okay, we want a 90-degree bend at the knees. Just go ahead and check that for getting that as best you can. And then for me, because I'm not too big, I'm going to use the smallest setting. There's quite a few settings here for you to choose from. I'm going to use the smallest. Want to place a pillow, a cushion from your couch, a shoebox, whatever you have around, to go ahead and keep the knees so that they're positioned, again, hip width apart. Okay, and then we just want to hold the block lightly there. We're not going to press in on it. We're just going to make it so it doesn't fall. Okay, that's going to keep our legs in position. Okay, for this exercise, what I want you to do also is, we all have a tendency to slouch and be comfortable. What I'd like you to do is take your hips, your pelvis, and just roll it forward. So we're already flexed at the pelvis, but look what great help this is when we take the pelvis and we roll it forward. Suddenly I'm sitting up quite well. That's where a lot of our posture comes from, in a sitting position. My hips are level thanks to our tutor, which is this chair. And here's the block also being a prop that helps us keep in parallel alignment. This is going to be ankle mobility. Okay, so we're going to do 10 reps of this, but what we're going to do is we're going to rise up on our toes. I want you to push well into the ankle there and try to rise up, still connected with the big toe joint. Lower back down and go to your heels and bring the fronts of the balls of the feet up off the ground. Go ahead and roll out and away from the midline of the body, and then roll toward the midline of the body. There's not much there in terms of ability to move. There's a little bit, and that's one. We're going to do 10. Okay, here we go. Again, I'm sitting up straight. Just go ahead and relax your arms, put them wherever is comfortable for you, and let's do this. Toes, heels, outside, inside. Toes, heels, outside, inside. Toes, heels, outside, inside. Toes, heels, outside, inside. up, up, out, in and up, heels down and out to the outside edge and on the in. That's the hardest one for me. One, out and in, and two more. And last one, outside edges, inside edges. So when I first did that one, I had almost no ability to move toward the inside edges of my feet. I'm better. I would say my left leg lagged well behind my right in trying to find that. And when it started, it was just like, okay, I know I should be able to do this because they say I can do it. So I'm going to do it. But I had no muscular response when I first started. But what that does is it just puts your ankles through a full range of mobility while you're maintaining a nice upright posture, a lower back curve, and sitting up using the hip flexors and your legs held beautifully in alignment so that your knees don't get all wild. The next exercise, we can just leave the block here and we're just going to sit for a minute sitting in extension. So again, this is not sitting extension. I'm going to roll our hip bones up. Now that we've gone ahead and run our ankles through that, let's just go ahead and sit for a minute with a nice forward tilt of the pelvis, using the chair to feel into our body and feel that we're equal from left to right. Sensing into our body, are our shoulders creeping up to our ears? Are we having trouble holding that position? For some people, because we sit so much and we do not use these muscles, this is actually an exercise. It's not about squeezing the block, but it is about not letting it drop. Your full foot is on the ground. Many of us want to supinate or pronate. Just go ahead and hold your feet nicely on the ground, gently, no pressure. And you can start to feel the fatigue building in your body as you sit here. And this is what's called sitting in extension. All right, for my third exercise, I'm going to switch out the block for a belt. And again, you can just use a belt that you have in your closet. It doesn't have to be anything special, especially when you first start. Don't need all this specialist equipment. Go ahead and bring the belt with a loop in it. Again, you want to look for that hip width. So I need to open up my belt a little bit. That's a little wide. That seems about right. Okay, so it's just above the knees, as you can see on the camera. I'm going to look down at my feet and check to see, after all that ankle movement, if my feet haven't walked away from each other. I'm looking for that 90-degree bend. I'm looking for my thighs to be parallel with the ground. I'm going to go ahead and bring myself up into that position where my pelvis is tilted forward. Go ahead and just rest my hands on my legs. And what I'm going to do is abduction. So abduction is using these external hip muscles to pull away from the midline of the body, to pull out and away from each other. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull out, hold, and release the muscles. It's not a big movement. Pull out, hold, release. Pull out, hold, release. About that fast. And let's just go ahead and do that for a minute or 2 minutes. So this is not a complicated movement, but it is really strengthening to these external muscles on the sides of the body. There's a tremendous amount of hip stabilization that comes into play here. And you may feel that, you know, your legs are going off to one side because one leg is much stronger than the other. So go ahead and sense and see, are you using the same amount of pressure on both sides? Are they moving about the same, with about the same width? And I want you to breathe. Breathe through your nose, telling your body as you breathe in and out through your nose that you're safe here. This isn't a difficult exercise. If your body's screaming back at you and saying, this is a difficult exercise, then you know that this one is too advanced. But you probably think, I could do that. Let's do another 30 seconds of squeeze out from the midline of the body, hold and release while we're breathing nice and deeply through our nose. All the while we're doing this, we're maintaining this nice forward position of the pelvis, a nice upright and relaxed upper body. If you see suddenly your shoulders are doing something or one, that's a compensation, and just allow that to relax down. When you pull out to the side, one of the things you don't want to do is roll your feet out with it. We're not using our ankles to do this work. We're just working from here. And that's one of the really cool things about this work, is that the chair gives us information about what's level. The work we're doing is very isolated. It's very minor. It's working on the postural muscles. Okay, one more. Squeeze, hold, release. Okay, and for the last one, I'm going to go ahead and leave my belt on. You can choose. But ideally, what we want to do is maintain this same leg position, okay? But now we've been sitting up so much. We've had this nice tilt of our pelvis forward, and our back muscles back here, these erectors that help us stand erect, are maybe a little tired. So I thought maybe a nice stretch would be good to end the class. So we're going to just do a sitting drape. Go ahead and use the belt to keep your knees in place, and let's just bend over from the hip as far forward as it feels good. My legs right now are just starting. I hit about here and they want to pull apart. I'm very strong in moving away from the midline and externally rotating. I am not as strong when I'm parallel or even moving toward the midline of the body. So this is a great exercise for me. I'm also someone who has a big lower back curve. And so this one helps me kind of stretch into these vertebrae down here that don't have a whole lot of flexion. They have a whole lot of extension. And in that way, that's an area of my posture that I have to keep working on slowly. Now in this position, you may find it challenging for a lot of different reasons, but ideally at whatever point that you come down to, you can just rest your arms. If this is too much weight, you can rest your arms up here or put them back on the chair to take some of the weight away. I'm going to try and engage um, my inner thigh muscles so that I'm not depending so much on the belt. I'm not rolling my feet toward each other or away from each other. I'm letting the chair tell me what is level for my hips. I'm going to take one more big breath here. In through my nose. And out through my nose. And then I'm just going to use my hands to help me come on up. And that very well could be your posture therapy routine if that was specifically applicable to you, or any variety of positions, any variety of movements that might help you move into your areas of your body that haven't been moved in a while. gain strength or stability depending upon where your concerns lie. This work is it's very introspective. There's a lot of deep breathing. So at the end of it, you feel better, I think, just because of the blood circulation and also the deep breathing that we do throughout. In that way, it's very mindful. So you're listening to yourself. You're not just writing over, what your body's trying to say to you. You're really building that line of communication through your body. And I think of that as being a huge benefit in the course of our busy days. So I hope you enjoyed this little glimpse into what posture therapy looks like. And I'll see you next time in the podcast. Thanks so much for coming.